and welcome to A Window to Bourne. I'm your host, Mavis Robinson, and joining me today is Cynthia Coffin. Cindy, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Mavis.
So, Cindy, I know you are a local author, and I'm interested in exploring your writing process and how you got into writing. But first, let's kind of find out who you are. Did you grow up in Bourne?
I spent most of my life in Bourne. My dad was in the military at Otis Air Force Base, so I went through pretty much from first grade on out at Otis. And then he moved to Katamet, where he still lives. My mom's passed away a couple years ago. And I just live like 10 minutes from them in Pocasset. So yeah, I've grown up all my life, really, what I consider all my life in Bourne, and I just love it here.
So you went through the Bourne school system?
Went through all the Bourne school system.
Yep.
I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I thought I wanted to be a vet because I love animals. But I wasn't sure, and I had a horse at the time, and I didn't want to leave her, so I went to 4Cs for 2 years, then I went to Bridgewater, got a degree in biology, and just kind of had some certain jobs. Then ended up working here for the town for 30 years.
Oh wow! So what
in
did
the Board of Health?
Okay.
Yeah, I started as a health inspector, restaurants and septics, and then my boss left, and I applied for his position. So basically, like 29 years, I was the health agent for the town.
Oh wow! So what? Now tell us a little. That's one of those really behind the scenes agencies that probably most people don't know about until it's suddenly very important.
That is true. Most people, I don't know, I think they mostly think food, which it is a large portion of it, but a really probably a higher percentage actually is like septic systems.
Oh, okay.
So but I mean, there's so many things that the state will, make a Board of Health, regulation for or whatever. So I mean, it's pools and restaurants and hotels and motels and tanning. Well, we don't do tanning. Well, we still do tanning a little bit. We used to do massage therapy that now the state takes that, but it's perk tests, septic system installations, drinking water, beach water, noise complaints, chicken complaints, anything you could imagine.
Chicken complaints, really?
Oh, yeah. Crowing roosters, yeah.
Wow.
Everything. We've kind of dealt with a lot.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And I had an inspector and a full-time secretary for most of the time.
Yeah.
And then I answered to a 5-person board.
Okay, yeah. Now, is there something like what would be the biggest surprise for somebody who's doesn't know anything about the Board of Health to find out? For me, the chicken thing was pretty surprising.
Wow. The most surprising thing, I don't know. I don't know, probably just to find out, like a lot of the time we spend doing perk tests, and basically it's like standing out.
So what's a perk test?
Well, you dig usually about a 10-foot hole or so, and you actually look at the soil horizons, and you're trying to determine what the soil types are in order to put the septic system in and have it function long term.
Okay.
So, and we're still doing it this way, is basically, you're standing there and they dig a hole, and then they dig a smaller, lower shelf when you're in the material that you want to look at.
Yep. And
then you pour 24 gallons of water in this hole, and it's really fun when it's like 30, 30 degrees and a 10 below, I don't know if it's a 10 below wind chill. We'll say like a 10-degree wind chill, and it's snowing, and you're watching water drop in a hole. But actually, I really like that part of it because I guess I'm weird. I love the septic part of it.
Yeah.
But I think most people don't realize all the various things that we have to deal with.
Well, also just thinking that, so you're actually out there physically doing that work.
Right.
It's not sitting in an office or,
No, I mean, that's a large part of it. But yeah, you're outside a lot. And the inspectors also, crawling around on floors and looking underneath things for signs of mice droppings and going into houses, and it's physical in that respect because you're outside a lot. And like I did retire after 30 years, but I do miss a lot of it, and I miss the people.
Good people.
Did
you work right over at the town hall?
Yes, right at the town hall.
Yep.
We were upstairs pretty much all the whole time I was there.
I loved how you started off talking about you didn't know what you wanted to be when you grew up, because I feel like there's so much pressure on kids, like graduating high school or college. What are you going to be? What do you want to do? And there are all those labels for jobs like doctor or lawyer or vet.
Right.
But really, most of us do jobs that nobody really knows about when you're a kid,
Exactly. Well, that's the whole thing. I think you have a dream. Like I thought I wanted to do something with animals because I love them so much. But I took a different path because I'd always wanted a horse, had a horse, and I didn't want to leave the horse. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that because it's very hard to get into schools, and it would have been a lot of years away. And then just kind of things happen. I was working at a wastewater lab where we checked like water from, I won't say the company, but to see what effects it would have on fish and wildlife and that sort of thing, toxicity levels. And then my father happened to hear about the health inspector job, and
Yeah.
And 30 years later,
30 years later,
you know,
here you are.
Right. So,
so now one thing that I think people, you know, I know when I was a kid and, you know, throughout my life, I've always had that dream of writing. You know, writing can become a really important part of life and schoolwork, and that dream of like, oh, if I could ever write a book or be an author, and you've actually done that. What can you tell us about your path to becoming a published author?
I think as a child in school, I loved to write. I think I always wrote poetry. I remember having like little notebooks I used to, you know, write in.
Yep.
And unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, I sort of never quite fit in. Like I did well in school, but I was very shy.
Yep.
Still am, even though I've had to work in the public eye, and that's helped a lot. But I just wrote all the time, and a lot of it was about being alone and sadness and, you know, different things. But I just I love to look at the world through a poet's eye. And as I got older, I was the kind of kid that, you know, wrote cards for everybody. So, you know, Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthday. I mean, my mother, you know, used to save. They're probably still in her house, in my dad's house somewhere. I used to keep them in a piano bench. But so every holiday I would write a different, you know.
So you're not buying the store-bought?
I didn't buy the store-bought cards. And I would love their reaction. I loved the reaction, you know. My poor mother and father, I think they've cried at more cards, because I really, it was like emotion really meant a lot to me. And then I realized that I wanted to touch other people. So like I have a wonderful friend, Lisa, at Town Hall. I think she's bought everything I ever, you know, I would have given them to her, but she would go to things and buy them. But, you know, people like her would say, would you write me a poem? Or, you know, I wrote something for her father. And then I realized I really loved to do that. So then I kind of got it, probably in my 30s and 40s, I really got into writing personalized poetry. And I made my own little website. And I you know, people that would, you know, word of mouth, they would come to me and say, they would tell me things about themselves, like my father was born here, he did this for a living, this is how many brothers and sisters he had, this is his wife, and I would create a story. And the poems were usually long. They weren't like little short poems, they were like full-page poems. And I kind of, you know, found that's what I really wanted to do for a long period of time.
That's a beautiful thing. So people could give that to a gift for an anniversary or a birthday.
And I would probably say I did maybe 20 or 30 of those over the years. I kind of, when Diane was kind enough to ask me to do this, I thought about trying to reach out to them to say, is there anybody but I didn't get a chance in the time frame to, you know, just in case I could read one or something.
No, is that something that you still do?
I still do it on occasion, yes. It's still probably one of my most favorite. I actually just did one for my cousin. My aunt asked me. It was like, I forgot what number birthday. I think we're close in age, so probably 50 or 60. And so I did one for her birthday. And I do find that it's like when I finish, it's just really a great sense of satisfaction. And I really want them to be touched. And I try to actually when I write, I put myself, like, say, in my aunt's thing, like she's talking to my cousin. That's how I do it. A lot of what I write, and it's funny, I've never been lucky enough to have children, never lucky enough to be married, but when I write my poems, like say if I wrote a mother to a daughter, I put myself in like how I would feel if I had that experience. And so there's a lot of emotion in pretty much everything I write. And I do find a lot of beauty in nature. So I kind of went from that. Then I started to try to do regular cards. Had a store, Lily Bell's in Buzzards Bay, Donna Sprague, and she was kind enough for many years to put like my frame poetry up, and she would sell them. I had some affiliation with Diane at an art thing that she did years ago for Bourne. I think she still does them, and she had my poetry, and she let me read and so, you know, little by little, I kind of had a little bit more exposure. And then one day I said, you know, I bought a few things here, but I've got like a book like this of poems. Most of them are personal, like to my mother, to my father. But I said, you know, I really want to write a book. It's kind of my legacy. I hate to say legacy, but I don't have children. I don't have them to leave to this earth when I'm no longer here. And I just said, even if it's just for me, and maybe only my friends ever get them, and I probably handed out more than I've ever sold, but I just wanted to write a book. And I put what I felt were my best poems. It's a very short book. It's probably like 12 or 13, 14 poems. And photographs. I love photography. And so that was like my endeavor. Just before my mom passed away in 2015.
And did you bring that book with you
Yes,
today?
I did. Yeah, this is like my favorite. It's really as I said, it's my favorite. It's called it's the Little Things That Matter.
Okay, yeah.
I will put it here, and it's dedicated to my mom and my dad. And I think you have a picture, but I mean, my mom and my dad, I dedicated to them. I actually dedicated it to all my friends, because without everybody's support over the years, I don't know that I would have, had the confidence enough.
Yeah.
I just want to touch people's hearts. I know that sounds really silly. I mean, it would be nice to make money. I'm retired. Hey, I love the income. But honestly, I just want to touch people. I want them to think about the people that they love, about nature. I don't know, just have a reverence for nature, have a reverence for life. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And the other things that I've written they're just about hope and inspiration.
Now, are there places in town that particularly inspire you with that love of nature that you spend time in, or that you?
I love the ocean, but of course, being in the Cape, hey,
right.
I got it all. But it's really funny. I never know what's going to hit me. Like one time, I think it was Diane had talked about like all these birds that come to the marsh, and I thought about it, and it just inspired me to write a poem. Or like I just was Mashpee Dyke is like one of my favorite places in the world, and so that kind of and the bridge, even the bridge and the canal. So all these kind of things, like I think I've written about almost all of those things, or seeing a heron on the canal when I'm biking, or I just really never know. And I've been trying to work so hard on the books. I will say it's a little sad because I haven't really been writing much. The first one was photographs, so that was easy. And then I decided I really wanted to write a little series of children's books.
Oh, wow.
And then I found, well, that's great, but now I have to illustrate them.
Yes. Do you have the ability to do illustrations?
I have a medium ability to illustrate, we will say. I used to draw as a child. I mean, I loved drawing. I'm not one that can actually usually see something in my head and put it on paper. I generally have to have a picture or something, and then I sketch from. Yes. But this was different because, like I said, these were all my own creations. So, like, how do I do this? So it took me a long time. And the second book, which actually is not a poetry book, I'll just hold that one up. This one's called Parada Finds Her Rainbow.
Parada Finds Her Rainbow. Oh, and is Parada the horse?
Parada's the horse. That was my first. That was actually she was my second horse. Gypsy was my first horse, and Parada was my second horse. Was Gypsy's daughter, a foal, and I had her for 29 years. Oh, and wow. This was actually a story that I wrote probably when I was 16 or something. I just published it like last year. Oh gosh. But it stuck with me forever because it's about hopes and it's about dreams. And you know how something like you'll do something and it just never leaves you. And so anyway, so I had to draw all the pictures, and that took me forever. And you want to get it perfect. Actually, this is actually a reprint because I went back and redrew everything from the original book because I just wasn't quite happy with it. So anyway, so that was this one, and this is not, like I said, not a poem, but probably one of the only things I've ever written that it's not poetic, but I didn't want to change the gist of the story, and I didn't want to force any rhymes or whatever. So this is my second book, and then the third book is an idea from a friend of mine about a tree, and her whole idea was that it's like a reverence for life again. And a tree isn't just a tree. It's everything that lives in it, every child that plays around it. So it's like, again, a reverence for nature. And I get really excited. Like, I don't tout much in my life. Like, I don't have a great deal of confidence, but I love what I write. I love what I write, and sometimes I'll read old poems and like they still make me cry. You know what I mean? So it's like.
So it's not just a tree. Is that a poetry book?
This is a poem. Yeah, this is actually a poem, and it's just like I said.
Do you have a favorite you might want to share with us?
Well, this is a whole book.
The whole book.
It's a story. It's actually a story in. I'm trying to see if there's something that's I don't know if there's. It's all about animals and stuff. It's about kids. Like, here's the kids. I don't know if you probably can't even zoom in, and it might be. But here's
hanging
kids
out in the tree.
Playing in the tree. So it's everything. It's like there's squirrels. The squirrels that build a nest. The robins that have eggs in the tree, and it's everything that's lost when that tree is lost.
Well, so, I also love, just tying back to the title of that first book you talked about, the little things.
Little things.
And, you can sort of think about when I was first you think about nature. In order to enjoy nature, you have to go to the Grand Canyon, or you have to, go to a place.
Right.
But really, nature is all around us, and just noticing and appreciating those little things.
Well, that's what. I mean, like I remember, and because I love photography, and I think I spent one time like 45 minutes just taking pictures of butterflies on the daisies.
Oh wow.
And if you really get close up and you look at the intricacies of like flowers, and it's just amazing. And it's true. I think people are so busy in life. We all are. Like now I'm retired. I don't know how I have found time to work. People have said that to me, and I'm like, but yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But you don't stop. You don't stop and look. Oh, look at the osprey that just flew over. Look at the, turkey buzzard. I even find turkey buzzards beautiful. There's so many things. I just wish that, hello, like this beautiful dog
and
right
so,
here.
And Captain, who I didn't introduce as my co-host this time, but he is my co-host, and he went right up to you as soon as we got here. I mean, he identified you as a friend of animals.
Animal lover, yes, yeah. I have a little dog of my own and 2 cats.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
So, yeah.
And have you always had pets in your life?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, gerbils, turtles, birds.
What can you tell us about the horse, too? I mean, that's a unique experience.
It was an amazing experience. I always had wanted a horse. My dad was in the military, and he always said to me, when I retire, I'll, get you a horse. And so, like the month after he retired, I'm like, hey dad, because I was like 14, I think, or something.
Yeah.
And he did. He got me a horse, and then I had her for about maybe actually 13 years. She was 7 when I got her. She died when she was 20. It's just an amazing experience. There's such a bond. I think a lot of girls, I think guys, boys too, but mostly girls have this real affinity for horses.
Yeah,
she was just the most amazing animal. And then I bred her and had her daughter for 29 years.
That's just the fact that you had her for 29 years. I mean, that's a real relationship.
It's hard. Yeah, when I lost her, it was like, I can't say I don't know what it's like losing a child.
Right.
But I had her for 29 years. It was more, at the time, it was like over half of my life.
Yep.
And it was just truly a horrific time. But the joy that they brought me, like any animal that I've ever had.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change a thing about having them. But yeah, just to be able to go out and trail ride and see nature. And, I always talked, it was like, which other people would know, you see the world through their ears. It's like you actually see the world through their, because you're looking through their ears like the whole
literally,
time.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I don't know, I just have always had an affinity for just nature and animals.
And there's something about that, with the pets, the knowledge while you have them that their time with you is fleeting, and that and really sort of, I mean, hopefully for me can encourage me sometimes to be more in the present moment and to appreciate today's the day that we have, and I don't know. Sometimes I take people for granted, but I know
I think we all do.
Captain's only here for a little bit of time, so.
Well, it's like that. That's like, I mean, some of the message, not so much, maybe in some of the poems that I have, but it's just, like I said, like I never end the day. Actually, I start every morning because my mom's passed, but when she was alive, I started every morning calling them and telling them that I loved them. They only live 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
And every night I told them I loved them before I went to sleep.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get emotional because I can do that really quickly. But you really have to appreciate those in your life. Your friends, cherish your friends. If there's fights, try to get over it. You know, just think about the bigger picture and don't obsess about the small things, because when they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah.
You know, so you really just, and life too. I mean, who knows how long we're going to be on this planet.
Right, any person. Yeah.
Take a moment to yourself every day. Like I have a meditation. I try to meditate with this really great teacher, Susan Pasapia. And that's kind of what it is too. Live in the moment. Don't stress about things that haven't happened yet, and don't dwell on things that are past. Just really be present in the moment, and enjoy the life that you have.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so. I love your role that you've taken as almost a translator of emotion for people. And when you were talking about writing those poems for people, I mean, you have a special skill with language that not everybody has. I mean, people feel. You can feel an emotion, and I know I can feel an emotion, and then when I read something beautiful, I recognize it. Right. But that translation part of putting the emotion and the words into language, I think that's a beautiful gift that you have done.
I appreciate that.
Not just the poems that you've written and published, but particularly those personal ones.
Yeah, it's as I said, I know that this is terrible, but when I hand them to somebody and they say they're going to give them to, I mean, sometimes I've done them for funerals, and it's horrible to say that, but when people, I see tears in their eyes, I don't know what to say. That's like, it touches me so much because it meant that my words meant that much. You know what I mean? That it evoked that emotion.
Yep.
So, because they make me cry usually when I write them, and sometimes I don't even know the people.
Yeah.
So it just really touches me. And I just really want to touch people. It's not like I have anything more to say than anybody else, because I think it's all things that we know already. Just want to touch people's hearts.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really what the goal is.
Well, I have a funny question, because among the books that you brought, you've got a town annual, or town report.
Yes,
so not usually seen as a spot for inspiration. But what can you tell us about what's in there?
I know that they did the town report every year, and there was one poem that I wrote, and I think I remember Diane had seen it and other people, and it was called The Place That I Call Home, and it was all about Bourne and what Bourne meant to me. And so I actually wrote a letter with the poem to the town administrator at the time, Tom Garino, he's still the town administrator, and the Board of Selectmen at the time. And I just said, would you consider like putting this in, And they did, which I was shocked. So it actually graced the cover. Pretty much my father, I think, took about 50 copies and handed them to everybody that he knew. We did a flu clinic once. And every person that came in to get a shot, he handed them a copy. So, I mean, I hope that wasn't any kind of an infringement or anything. But, my parents have been like and my father now is just, he's, my biggest supporter. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. And it was just all about Bourne and what it meant to me. And I thought it was kind of fitting, just to...
Now, if somebody was interested in reading that poem, where would they find it?
Well, I don't know where they keep old copies. This is it was from July 1st, 2008 through June 30th of 2009. It's actually in this book that you can get on Amazon.
Is it really? Oh, so it's reproduced in that book?
Because it meant so much to me. I'm pretty sure I put it in here. I thought I did anyway. Maybe I didn't. Well, I see another book coming. I think maybe I wanted to keep it more generic. Now that I think about it, I was going to put it in. And then I thought, but I wanted it to be, but I would. I'd like to actually do. Maybe I am thinking of a second book of compilation. Either that or reach out to me and let me know, and we'll get you a copy. But it's actually probably in the library, I guess would be. But it's called The Place That I Call Home.
Would you mind reading a little bit of it for us?
Sure. It's really long. Well, all right, we'll see. I read pretty fast. I sat before my laptop on one rainy winter Cape Cod night and searched for distant places where my spirits might take flight. I dreamed of far-off beaches where gold and sand caressed my toes. I dreamed of miles of wooded trails blanketed by winter snows. I saw marshland and windswept dunes, their faces etched by time, and outstretched fingers of weathered boulders that beachcombers love to climb. In daydreams I crossed a glimmering bridge that spanned blue water deep, and ventured into quaint little shops for souvenirs that I could keep. I couldn't wait to find my goal, that place I longed to be, where nature would embrace my soul and somehow comfort me. And then in a moment reality came and stared me in the face. All the things that I was dreaming of could be found right here in this place. A beach along a causeway lay in purity at my feet, where winter storms had made their mark and windswept sands had claimed a street. There were wetlands scattered here and there, with ospreys perched on high, and at night coyotes serenaded with an eerie lullaby. The trails and dunes and jetties could be found just miles away, or I could search for memories of the past, antiquing for the day. Where else could someone walk for miles as rollerbladers sped on by, and still see blue waters rushing past as seagulls soared on high? I realized all too quickly that the glimmering bridge I sought was the one I saw most every day and often crossed without a thought. How could I have been so very blind and long for something more, and not realize all the gifts I had that should make my spirit soar? There was nature all around me if I just opened up my eyes and took the time to look and listen, and just to realize that to find those things I longed for, I had no need to roam, for I could find them here in Bourne, the place that I call home.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
That was a very long poem, which unfortunately
know,
mine are kind of long. But
that's really lovely.
Thank you.
And it feels like it just sort of captures everything that we've talked about.
Right.
Well, finding beauty in the little things.
And the wind, and where the sand had claimed the road, that's Mashney. That's the road to Mashney that gets narrower and narrower every year. So.
Oh, that's very.
But anyway,
that's lovely.
So that really meant a lot to me. Kind of maybe that gave me an impetus to maybe try to do the books. You know, who knows? Like in my mind, it might have pushed me forward to do something else.
Yeah. Now, can you share your? I mean, these are lovely, beautifully done books with illustrations. I mean, how did you get these published?
Well, at first I really wanted to try to get a publisher to do them. I mean, I used to send my books out, and then you know, there are publishing companies that will help you publish. And it's great if you have the money, but usually it's about an upfront cost of like $2,000 or $3,000. And they, you know, you'll get a certain amount of books at the end. I happened to go to an art fair at actually Trowbridge, had like a craft fair, and there were these two gentlemen, and they had these little books or whatever, and I just asked them. I said, it was soft cover. I mean, everybody would love a hardcover book. I wish maybe someday I will. And they said, well, we actually, and I hope it's okay to say the name, but we use CreateSpace, which is a subsidiary of Amazon.
Okay, CreateSpace.
CreateSpace.
Yep.
It's basically it's really pretty much free, and you get on and you can create. There's different templates. It's a long process. Took me a long time to kind of learn it. It's pretty easy, but you can self-publish, and then basically once you get it, there's a format you type. You insert your pictures, whatever your illustrations. You put it into a Word document. Upload it to a PDF, they proofread it, you can correct it, and then you just, they actually put it on Amazon, so like all these books are on sale at Amazon, you just have to Google my name.
Yep.
Or if you want, or I should say like say I wanted to take some to a craft sale, I can go and I can purchase them.
Okay.
So I purchased them at a reduced price for what Amazon is selling them. There's like a minimum price, which is unfortunate because these are small and most of the minimums are like $10. Just the minimum's like $9.30 something.
Yeah,
but so I could buy them myself for about a little less than half because I have to pay for shipping. But it's just great because it can get you to do it, at least get a start.
And is there, do you have to guarantee that you're going to sell? Oh,
no,
wow.
No
that's
guarantee.
Wonderful.
It's an amazing, I don't know if it's ever going to change, but I've done all three that way. And it's really an amazing, I tell people, my friends that have wanted to write or see a book.
Yeah.
And there's others out there, but this is the one that I kind of was drawn to.
Yeah.
That basically, it's like, only thing I think the cost is to like buy the ISBN number. I think it's ISBN.
Yep.
You know, so that you can sell it.
Yeah, so at any bookstore would be able to scan that and know that it belongs to. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I could take it, and that's my goal. I should have done it this year, but I really would like to try to go to some bookstores and see if they might, you know, kind of cover them. Like I said, I don't know if I mentioned about like Diane and Skip at their store. The Barlow's Clam Shack.
Yep, they have a gift shop as part of that.
Yeah, they have a gift shop, and they've had my book. Lily Bells has my book. I haven't actually taken the children's books anywhere, but there's a bookstore in Falmouth. I'd like to do that too. So it just gives you a start. So anybody that, you know, has ever thought, oh, I would really love to write a book, but I don't have thousands of dollars to put out.
Yeah. And it's so intimidating thinking I'm going to be sending my manuscript to New York and you know, dealing with rejections.
Exactly. And it's just a really, and I said I would just encourage anybody. You could do photographs. I mean, there's just different avenues.
Yeah.
Of even, like I said, for me to hold this in my hand, even if I never sold one, and I have sold a few, really haven't sold very many of these, but even just to hold them in my hand, it's such an accomplishment. Oh. And I would recommend it to anybody. As I said, it's CreateSpace, but there's others I think that probably are out there.
Yep. Well, I appreciate you sharing that little, you know, sort of secret way to get published. And thank you so much for coming today and for sharing your poetry. And I really, really enjoyed meeting you.
Oh, I really enjoyed. Thank you, Mavis. As I said, I just want to touch people. Feel free and you know to take a look or whatever. And if you can find me, I'll even autograph it for you.
All right.
You never
we'll have
know.
to have you at the Trading Post gift shop next year once we open again.
Oh, sounds good. Thank you so much, Mavis, and thank you, Diane, for this opportunity. Thank you.
And thanks for joining us today on A Window to Bourne. I'll see you next time.